Oh, Mean Girls. Oh, that's so cute.
Isn't that so cute? I thought it would be appropriate for the episode.
Oh, yes. I get it. Cute little pink snakes.
Oh, did I tell you I lost my pandas, the black ones? I'm pretty sure I left them in the hotel room at Jenny's wedding back in February.
Oh.
Yeah, never
Those
found
are
them.
Thank you. Look like a Gen Z minus the socks.
Minus the dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
It's so I tried. I did it. I didn't try. I did it to the Astros game.
Oh yeah.
It just felt so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you wear it with snakes and?
It was just like my white tennies and a little athletic dress. But
that would have been so cute.
I mean, I did it.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is weird. But they weren't the appropriate kind of socks. I don't think. I need the ones that scrunch a little bit.
When you find them.
Hello.
Hola Primas.
¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos para atrás. No. Welcome back.
I'm Kristi.
And I'm Clari. And this is Dear Primas. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share, share our video. That's a new one.
Love it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can share us with other primas, your primas.
I'm going to write that down. I like that. Share with someone you think might.
Needs to hear this. Oh, yes. You do have that. We need to put that on this one. This is a good one for that.
This is a good one for that.
Yeah. Like, just sharing your story, subliminal. It used to be called a subtweet whenever you would like talk about somebody, but you wouldn't say that you're talking about somebody.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's called a subtweet. Back when Twitter days
wasn't X.
Yeah. So dumb. Everybody, I feel like, still calls it Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Wait, are you following us? Did you say, are you following us on Instagram?
Are you following it? Oh, yeah. Follow us on Instagram.
Subscribe to YouTube.
Subscribe, to YouTube, TikTok.
Finish your spiel. Tell the people.
Come. Oh, is there a good one? Oh, we could do something. I don't know if there's like with the ones from the witches from
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, from Hocus Pocus or something like that. Come, children.
Yeah,
or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Getting closer to the season.
Tis the season. Yeah. Let's get into
our faves.
Fave of the
week. I'll start. On my show, continuing on my show kick here. There's two. Oh goodness, I'm gonna see that. The first one is Reasonable Doubt, who the last time we could not remember her name, Kerry Washington. Like,
this
shame
is on Hulu,
us,
right?
Yes.
Okay.
She produced this one, I believe. Reasonable Doubt, she doesn't come out in it, but I think so. It's kind of like
what were we talking about her on?
We were talking about her on one of the previous episodes about
a show that she's on.
I think we were talking about Olivia Pope. Scandal, but we couldn't remember her name.
Oh, yes. Okay,
shame on us.
True icon. True.
Yeah. And but anywho, so I don't know how I started watching it. It might have just popped up on my Hulu recommended for you.
I was gonna say I thought I remember seeing multiple previews for it.
Oh, I think I saw ads, like maybe a TikTok or something. It was like, it captivated me, blah blah. So it popped up. I watched it. I started watching it, and it was really good. It's kind of like if Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder had a baby.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I think you would like it. I'm like, I don't know. You'll just have to see.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Is it a release by week or is it all?
It's so it's now? Season 1 is all the way out, and then season 2,
love it,
is current, but I think there's like 4 or 5 episodes.
Love it.
Out.
What is it called again?
Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about lawyers, right? She's a lawyer and big time lawyer and all this stuff, but she defends like big cases. And so it's kind of very similar to that. And yeah, I thought it was really good. It had my attention. And then once I reached the end of that, it was so funny because Hulu just automatically starts playing like another show. Ooh, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this is what was happening. And Kerry Washington, and I saw her name pop up. I'm like, oh, she produced this show. And then I see Kerry Washington on my screen. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's in the show. And then I realized it's a whole nother show.
Oh, what is the show, that one?
So this one's called Unprisoned.
Ooh.
And this one's, it's not like juicy. It's cute. It's so cute. It's like her dad has been in prison her whole life and he's out of jail. It's like, and she's a grown woman and he's out of jail or prison, and she's like reluctant to try to help him because she's like, you're never gonna change. But it's also like fun, and like she has all these, of course, daddy issues because of, so she has like trouble with relationships, and then she has like this inner voice. It's a little her like a little girl, and she comes out in times, and she's like a lot more aggressive. Like the little girl's like super aggressive, like because her thoughts are that way. And it's a cute show.
Okay.
But yeah, those two.
I like it. it.
Yeah, I'm like going back and forth with them. The Unprisoned, it's like, it's not juicy.
Yeah. It's more of like a feel good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it had my attention. So it's not like I'm like not binging it. I'm kind of just like, oh yeah, let me go watch this one. Then I don't know how often the episodes come out though for the other one, because I feel like there's always like a new episode. So
I like it. Okay. Well, I'm adding that to list. My favorite of the week, I'd say, is I got my cartilage.
Oh,
pierced,
yes.
And then I did my double holes. What are these called? Earlobes?
The second
hole? The second.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. I did them all with my neighbor, and we went together, and she got also her cartilage on her other side. But, yeah, I'm excited.
And you haven't had any issues, no sensitivity or anything?
Only whenever I slept the first night. But after that, I feel like I can't sleep on this side, but I'll find myself like I'll put my hand here to kind of like prop it up if I do want to go on this side to sleep.
And it didn't hurt. I feel like I was always so scared of that.
I was the same way. Yeah. This one, no, you felt it more. The cartilage, you felt it more than the other two. The other two, I honestly was like,
nothing.
Yeah. But the cartilage, it felt like pain more towards the end of the day. But
did you go to a tattoo shop?
I did.
Okay, maybe that's why too.
Yeah. I hear where we got Bella's ears pierced. So I was like, I need to feel what she felt.
Yeah.
Put myself.
It feels nothing. Like here's nothing. It's nothing but what, like skin. I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're all blinged out. Look at you. She 18. Who is she?
I might be, really tempted to get a tattoo now. I don't know. Now that I'm not pregnant for the consecutively like past 5 years. So
whoa,
that's nice. Yeah.
You've always talked about one. I feel like.
Yeah.
I've never had a desire for one.
Now seeing my sister, she's got more piercings and tats. I don't know. It just feels like something I would like. I don't know where. Permanently.
Yeah. Interesting. And then Daniel, you're the only one that's
I am
had it.
the only. Look at me being a good.
the role model.
The good daughter.
The oldest. Yeah. Would you like the boys to get tattoos?
Would I let them?
I
guess if they really, really wanted one. I don't think I'd be like, you're never getting one until you're 18, out of my house type of thing. I don't know. Don't come up to me with like some on your throat type of thing.
Yeah.
Then we got to have a discussion. But
well, it's a gateway. No, I'm just kidding.
What did you start? I guess. I don't know. We'll see.
Nice.
I don't have a song, so
yeah, we think we could skip that.
Okay, we'll skip the karaoke.
We'll
today.
Skip the silent karaoke.
We got lots to say on this episode.
Yeah. Have you
I'm excited.
Ever been personally victimized? Are you a mom that's ever been victimized by another mom?
Oh. Okay, so look. I wore this shirt for this episode. And one, shout out Navy Tees because she made this, and she has a ton of other ones that are like for spooky season, Halloween, all of the sweaters for all of the seasons. But yes, going along the lines of being mom shamed.
Yes.
It can be from other moms, from people that aren't even moms. Like I was going to say, people that come to mind are not even females.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just sometimes don't realize that they're doing it.
No.
Our males.
But how much worse is it when it's coming from an actual mom? Like everybody has. You find out right away when you're pregnant. Everybody has an opinion. And they think it's okay to just say whatever comes to their mouth, to their brain, out their mouth, like
no filter
at all. They think just because you're pregnant, they can comment on your body, like. Like they can say, like, it's just, if you really start to think about it, you're like, this is weird. Like, people just, I don't know. But you'll see if you ever, embark in this journey, that people just lose their minds.
There's no other way of saying it, but
you're like, is this really happening? Yeah, so the mom shaming is already a thing, right? Mm-hmm. From outsiders that have no business. But then when it comes from like mom on mom shaming, mm-hmm. It's even worse because you should know better.
Yeah.
So,
well, okay, so do you want to know one of like the biggest things right now in like as moms that we deal with on a daily basis?
Okay.
Biggest things is this comparison culture.
Oh, yes.
And this can be brought on by, one, social media, I think is a huge factor. But two, also it's like self-criticism. That is like your internal, am I doing everything that I'm supposed, like, right? Am I doing it? Like you're shaming yourself almost into like what you see should be ideal in what you thought this whole journey is supposed to be like. And it's the complete opposite. And you are literally just going through it day to day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where was I going with that?
Comparison.
Yeah, the comparison. Culture.
So, like, elaborate.
Well, I think you see this ideal scenario play out with everything. This starts with pregnancy, but also like as they're growing up. My kid is supposed to be walking at like, we have kids the same age. Are they supposed to be walking? Oh no, they're supposed to be talking. They're supposed to be going enrolled in this kindergarten program and bilingual and be speaking 2 different languages. Like, I think it's just an ongoing, constant, oh my God, your kid is already reading chapter books and my kid can't even read sentences, or my kid's not writing. It's like constant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that kind of along the lines? Mm-hmm. Where do we want to go with
that? I'm trying to pull it out of you. Where do you want to go with that? I guess, or like, so like you yourself as a mom.
Yeah.
You're already thinking all these things.
Yes.
You're already comparing your kid to these, like, not to be like one-upping or whatever, but just being like, yeah, is my kid where they need to be? Is it because of me that they're not meeting these milestones or these accolades, like where they should be? And so then we're already hard on ourselves with everything.
Right.
Then to throw in other people's judgments and opinions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like, like, you don't have to do that. I'm already thinking the things that you're thinking or whatever, And so I feel like, aside from that, what is it? Rabbit hole. Did we want to talk more about that? Or just go ahead and segue?
We can go ahead and segue. I think it'll come up as we...
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're already beating ourselves up about every little thing. And so to get what the outside opinions begin, it starts in pregnancy. You're pregnant, people asking you, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And you choose to be honest. And you choose to say, I'm tired. I don't feel good. I feel XYZ, especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
And what do people say immediately when you say, I'm so tired?
Well, just wait. Just wait.
You just wait till the baby gets here. You're not going to be sleeping any. Or like when you're further along in your pregnancy and it starts to get more uncomfortable to sleep and you're like, oh, I just couldn't get any sleep last night. Oh, you think you weren't sleeping now? Wait until the baby gets here. You're not going to sleep at all ever for your whole life.
Yeah.
And that's just not true. I mean, it does get harder to get some good quality sleep.
Right.
And we shall see. But I feel like, for sure, from my experience, the pregnancy tired is a lot harder than like just I haven't had a good amount of sleep tired.
Yeah.
From what I've experienced, at least. And I think how you choose to have, like, I just don't know how you have done it with having kids in school and then a newborn. I feel like that's hard because now you're having to get these little people ready for school on like hardly any sleep because you're still waking up. Like a newborn, you're gonna be waking up every 2 to 3 hours, like period. Like hopefully, they have to eat.
Right.
But then getting up and getting moving and doing those things.
Yeah.
That is hard because
Yeah.
You just have no choice but to
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
But as far as but telling people that they're never gonna sleep.
Like imagine already feeling like the weight of what's to come, and then like you see this lady super done up that has 2 kids, and you're like, oh yeah, it could be, and then she's like, just wait,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like an immediate joy killer. It's like deflated almost.
Yeah, like, and then as a mom, you've heard it. Anybody who's been pregnant has heard that saying
Right.
before.
Yeah.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just don't think it made anybody feel good ever to hear that. And so why would you want to keep repeating the cycle? And it's like, and if you weren't pregnant ever before and like you thought about saying these things,
maybe you're genuinely curious, like, oh, are you going to sleep? Like, how's your sleep?
Are you ever gonna sleep again? I don't know.
Maybe you are just asking to ask,
or even then, like, okay, you kind of get off with the past, right? But like, you've been there and you've heard that, like, there's just no excuse. Like, it was just.
I think at this point, I feel like people just like to hear themselves talk and like to say that they, have an opinion and everything. They really do.
Yeah.
It's just hard to hear it when you're already having those thoughts in your own head and are like constantly like,
yeah. And instead be the mom that's like, it's gonna be a little challenging, but you're gonna get through it. Like, we're all doing it. Everybody literally has done it. Like, your parents did, your mom did it. But yeah, so just stop saying that. Stop saying that they're not gonna sleep once the baby gets here.
And also, oh my gosh, on the thing of pregnant, when they start showing, don't be like, oh, you're only how many months? Wow.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna have the baby tomorrow or something. It's like, excuse me.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking, like, commenting, like, because that's commenting on somebody's body.
Yeah.
Which you would typically hopefully not do, period, but it makes it okay because they're pregnant. Like, don't say, oh, you're so tiny, or oh, you're so big.
Yes.
Like, both are bad, like, as much as you don't intend it to be, especially like the tiny comments. I feel like that's like, people are like, oh, but you're so small, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they wanted their little bump, and some people just carry very differently. And then the more kids you have, the quicker you start to show, because that's what your body, your muscles are already used to, like, oh, this is what we're supposed to do. Boop, here we are. Don't do that either. Especially as a mom. And especially, like, I feel like it's like the older generation too has a hard time with it.
Filtering.
Yes. It's like, do you not remember?
No. Also, males, like, my dad sometimes will be like, I'm like,
yeah,
reel it in.
Yeah,
that's enough.
Yeah, I had a friend's dad ask me how much weight I had put on, like, legit, just flat out asked me, and I'm like, not that much, sir.
Yeah. Which also too, like, as a mom, when you're asking each other, like, oh, well, how much weight did you gain with number one? How much weight did you weigh? I feel like that question is always like, why are we talking about this?
Yeah.
What are we doing to get to this? Because it's never like, not the feeling getting on the scale. You want to make sure that you're giving the nutrients to the baby whenever you are getting on the scale at your appointments. But like, I don't know, to just be like, oh, and now you're to what weight after baby? I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah. It's like, if you wouldn't ask this question if I wasn't pregnant, don't ask it when I'm pregnant.
Right.
Like, oh, how much did you weigh 2 years ago? How much do you weigh now? Like, if you would
college, what was your college?
Yeah.
Weight? And what is your goodness gracious?
Oh, yeah. So that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And then as you come on to now being a mom, now you have so many more opinions. And I feel like, we all do our research, and maybe the research that we do is all different. And we all go in with different ideas on, like, how you want to either raise a baby or how you want to take care of your child. And that's between you and your husband or whoever you're having this child with. And the older generation always has an opinion. And then other mom friends always have their ways of doing things. And so it just becomes like a lot and judgy.
Very judgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just don't do that.
Yeah.
The first thing that, I think one of the big ones that comes into play right away is, oh, are you going to breastfeed?
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, like,
Mm-hmm. Coming from the mom that breastfed for 2 years,
yeah.
are you breastfeeding?
Yeah. I just felt such a bond and a connection whenever. And it's like,
if you are that mom, that's terrific.
yeah.
But you don't know who you're talking to and what they have already like. Maybe they already know that they can't, or maybe they
Mm-hmm.
like. That's fantastic that you were able to do it for 2
Yeah.
years. I wish that was something that I wanted, but I wasn't physically, mentally
Yeah.
prepared for the birth like that it brought on.
Yeah.
It's just
And
so
everybody has a different mindset about it or mentality. Some people go in thinking, I want to be that mom.
yes,
And then,
yes.
like you said, either you're not producing enough, whatever you're doing is just
You're
not
already hard
happening.
on yourself as it
Yeah.
is going the like week up to you having the baby. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
am I supposed to have this colostrum coming out? I don't
Yeah.
know what the colostrum. Am I supposed to be doing whatever? And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm already behind.
Yeah.
I'm already
failing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The latch is not latching, like it hurts, it's painful.
Super
Like,
painful.
it just, that's not the only way to build a connection with your baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, as long as the baby is being fed is what's important. Like they say, fed is best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you don't know if the baby had to be in the NICU. Like, what
Yeah.
if the baby had to, and you physically couldn't
Yeah.
breastfeed? You couldn't start off strong with that immediate connection.
Mhm.
You're not, it's not like you're behind
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of that.
And then there is the postpartum, like, I don't know if it's part of the depression or if I think it's something about like the down blues or something, like once the baby starts breastfeeding or you start pumping, like some people just automatically feel so down. Like as soon as whatever it is that's releasing the milk, they just get this feeling of like emptiness. Like it's part of it. Like it's part of, I guess, postpartum depression. And so some people deal with that too. Like some people don't get this high off of like, oh, like this is such a beautiful moment. It's like, wow, this is like really depleting,
Yeah.
And you're not aware of that. And so to make those comments like, yeah, they're wanting to, but it's like, who's mom's mental health is number one, as long as the baby's being fed with formula. That's what it was invented for. Because if mom's not doing well, she's not gonna be able to take care of that baby properly.
Right.
And so that's like, I guess it's fine to ask the question if you want to try to relate to somebody, but don't be like, well, yeah, how long did you do it for? Did you try everything? Did you try pumping every 2 hours? Did you try, I don't know, whatever?
Just assume that they tried all of the things. And
yeah.
It's just a touchy subject. Like,
it's
really hard to, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of like the scenario where when like each baby was different. Each state of mind, like choosing to do it was different, but it was like you're already so hard on yourself if you're not doing it, and like at a disadvantage if you can't get the baby to latch. And what if the lactation specialist, you don't have one at the hospital? Like, you're just literally learning as you go and doing the best you can.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I think I had a goal for myself for like 6 months. That was like my goal. Like if I can make it past it, great. If I can't do it, that's fine. But that's like what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah.
And it started getting difficult. And I got to the point where I just didn't want to put the pumps on anymore. And I'm like, okay, I'm done doing this. Like, why am I going to do this if it's not bringing me, like, if it's making me feel so like dreadful, like I'm dreading to do this. Like my baby's fine. He's healthy. He's at the weight that he needs to be. He took, we started incorporating the formula after like 7-ish, 8-ish months, something like that. And he took it just fine. And I didn't have to worry or stress or,
When it's like, it was also too just really hard to feel like you had any sort of space because you were on a time limit. Like if I'm going to, let's say, go get my nails done or go get, it's time for, myself to kind of just take a deep breather, I was on a time limit, because then I'd start leaking mid thing and I'd be like, I got to go back and feed.
Mhm.
I don't have an extra set of hands, or I don't have enough supply to be able to feed the baby on the next
Mhm.
feeding.
Yeah.
Or hell, make a bottle with formula.
Mhm.
It's not the end of the world.
No, it's
And
not.
then, oh my gosh, with the formula, it's like, well, what formula are you using? Well, what formula should I be using? Is it made from breast milk? I don't know. Like that also is like super daunting and like,
Yeah. And whatever you choose, as I feel like as long as baby takes to it is what's
mm-hmm,
important.
mm-hmm,
But breastfeeding, we could go for
on
a
and on.
long time about
Yeah,
that. But I think if you're like currently a mom or you're about to be a mom and you're dealing with, the internal battle of I think I want to breastfeed, or I think it would be difficult once you go back to work, because it's a whole
yeah,
full-time
yeah,
job
yeah.
and people do it, and power to you. But I just think, like, don't beat yourself up if you're just overwhelmed and you're like, I just can't picture myself
Mm-hmm.
being attached to this pump for every 2 hours, every 3 hours. If it's taking a toll on you, like, it's totally okay to just not do
Yeah,
it. Like,
yeah.
find a formula. And it is more like, I think that's what kept me going was the cost. Like, formula is so expensive
Mm-hmm,
and they
mm-hmm,
run through those cans.
mm-hmm.
So, but if it's just not worth your
Sanity.
sanity at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also too, if you're the outsider opinionating on this situation,
Yeah.
just maybe like have some self reflection. Maybe have a filter or the question that comes to mind. Think about it before it just comes out,
Mhm.
and just be like,
Yep.
should I say this? Maybe let me say one positive thing before
Yes.
I say that,
Yeah.
and
And then
then
go back to the beginning of your breastfeeding journey.
yeah,
Like, I doubt that it's probably like it's not that likely that all these people, even if you breastfed for 2 years, I bet you there was like a 3-month period of like, you were,
mastitis,
yeah,
something happened.
that something happened, you were having or you were just internally just struggling with it.
Yeah,
I know, I would bet money that almost everybody has experienced that. Like, and I've heard more stories of like people that are continuing to pump, but they complain about it. And I'm like, well, just stop. Like, it's okay. Like,
yeah,
it's gonna be fine, but
yeah.
don't fall into that trap. And so, like, if you're that mom that's talking about how long you breastfed, I know there was a time period where you were dreading it. Think about you being in that time period, and would you want somebody telling you, you can keep going, you can keep doing it, like, if it's like not making you happy.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Just think about that.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, second part of mom shaming. um as the kids, I think this starts immediately, is the screen time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is, judging people.
Oh yeah.
We just started letting him watch stuff, but like, am I going to, everybody has their opinions,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you'll have your opinion, but just don't tell the people your opinions. Like, behind closed doors, you could be like, I would never let my 3-month-old watch, but
Yeah.
you don't have to go tell them.
They're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is whenever it starts being like a right or wrong type of
Yeah.
thing. Like if you have the TV playing in the background and your baby's watching it, cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's maybe 5 years down the line, if we want to ask about like, hey, developmentally, like my
Mhm.
baby's not, the speech is not happening
Mhm.
because I'm watching TV at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Maybe then we consult
Yeah.
somebody and ask, like, what could it be? I don't know if that even has a factor on it. I don't
Mhm.
know. I think we both see the same. This is John and I just thinking like we were raised not by a screen.
Mhm.
We were raised being outside. We were outside playing with our friends. We were just constantly active. And that's how we want to also choose to raise the kids. Um, do we think that if they go over and to a friend's house and like are watching movies, it's like the end of the world? No,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's your, and then also video games. Like that was something
Mhm.
that we don't want to put in our house just yet. Do I feel like it's the end of the world that somebody does and that's how you want to like no, I don't think that either. But at the same time, I just feel like the opinions can't make or break like I don't know, like a mom. Am I going off on a tangent
No.
here? Like a a relationship with another mom where you are so involved in the way that they are raising their children. Like, it shouldn't be
It doesn't affect you.
my visions can't be
Yeah.
like your visions, and if you don't think my way, then it's wrong.
Yeah.
Did I land the plane?
I think so. Like, yeah, like it shouldn't like make or break a friendship, right? Like,
No, yeah, yeah,
is that I don't know what
yeah.
you
I don't know
said.
where I was going with that.
But no, like it's okay to have differing opinions.
Yeah, yeah.
Like however you choose to, if you want to play Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, you know, since they're itty bitty, like that's on you. But that's another thing that people just keep it to yourself.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Um,
And it's, don't get me wrong, like that is one thing that is the easiest thing to pull out at a restaurant of all things, like a restaurant, to be like, hey, give them the phones so they will, like,
Yeah.
we're the loudest people in this room and let's just give them the phones type of thing. But also they have so many things now that you can pull out and be like, to keep them entertained. Coloring books at the restaurants. If they don't have coloring books or colors at the restaurants, we might be at the wrong restaurant.
We don't belong here.
We don't belong here with kids. Maybe they're giving us, they're letting us know. I don't know. Just like there's so many things now that you could bring, like a busy book. Bella got one of those for her birthday. I think the boys would use it more than
yeah, because there's a lot of little things that they can't do yet. Yeah. And I think, but if you are the family that everybody's at the table with their phones on, I mean, you know, that's y'all's decision.
Yeah.
And if I guess like if you wouldn't go tell like a stranger or something, like just don't tell your friend that either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like if you're not gonna go be like, y'all really shouldn't be on your phones during dinner.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Like that's,
and you don't know what kind of day they had.
Yeah.
What if they had just like a long day and it's like
what if it's not a everyday thing and this is just like, just leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's another big thing, you know. Everybody has their thoughts and opinions. Just keep it to yourself. And then, so to continue with the just waits trend, the just waits never end. It's a continuous thing. Once you start talking about, oh, my baby starts rolling, like you're getting so excited because they're, you know, they're meeting these new things, they're doing new things, and then you get well, just wait till they start crawling. They're going to be all over the place. And then once they start crawling, we'll just wait till they start walking. You're going to be chasing them around. And I think for us, it was like so exciting to see him learning all these new things. Yeah. And yeah, it gets a little bit more difficult, but you know, it's all part of literally growing up. Like, what do you want them to just not grow up?
Yeah.
Like,
press pause, please.
If your sentence is about to start with just wait, just don't say it.
You know what, though? I feel like I'm thinking back. Maybe you've said it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I don't know what I've said, but
I almost said something to my sister-in-law, but I didn't say just wait, but I just said, because we had taken the kids to the children's museum.
Oh, yeah.
And then after the children's museum, Adrian wanted to go to a restaurant that his uncle owns so that he could meet Antonio, and Audie's baby was going to be there. And Antonio's like, I mean, we had left the house at 11:30. We were at the children's museum from 12:30 to 3:30. We get to the restaurant. He's hanging out. He's having a great time. We've been at the restaurant. We were at the restaurant for almost 2.5 hours.
What?
Yes.
Holy moly.
They're drinking wine. They're talking.
This is with Antonio, and oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
this is impressive.
And so at like after his tank for a restaurant is 1.5 hours these days.
That's so good.
It's a 1.5 hour tank until he's ready to start moving and grooving, you know?
Yeah.
So
he sits in the high chair.
Yeah.
I'm mind blown. This is crazy.
Well, we'll hold him until like the food comes. Yeah. And then we put him there, and then he has his little busy book that we only keep for restaurants.
Okay.
And at first when we got there was hardly anybody there. And so he was kind of like walking around. We were sitting like in the back room, but once it started to get more busy, they started sitting people. So then we're like, okay, get back in the chair. Well, now he's like getting super like fidgety, antsy. And so I'm taking him outside to walk up and down West U. And it's hot as balls.
Yeah.
I'm sweating. Antonio's having a blast because he's walking, but then I'm like, all right, let's go back inside.
Yeah.
I had to take him outside like 3 different times, and Adrian's not getting the hint here.
Yeah.
But, and you know, and then, Addie's baby's like 3 months, so at that age they're chilling
So yeah,
in the
content.
yeah, like they could go to sleep with the stroller. We even tried bringing the stroller, seeing if and he would take a nap because he was
Yeah.
tired. He had a
Oh
long
yeah,
day,
yeah.
but he's too interested in what's
Oh
going
yeah.
on. So I did say, like, in the midst of coming in and out sweating, I'm like, if y'all are gonna do anything like traveling wise, like now until before they're mobile is the best time
Yeah.
to do things.
Yeah.
That's all I said.
Yeah.
But it's kind of true. But
Yeah.
it's just easier to do things when they're like bitty bitty babies. Even
sure.
though I think you need a little bit more to like the diaper bag or packing this, but they don't want to get up and start walking.
Right.
You know? And
Yeah.
so I was like, I was overstimulated. I was hot, and I'm like, we gotta go.
Yeah.
His battery is on E, like, and he's starting to get fussy. And like, he's not a fussy kid, but it's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
He's been out all day at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get home till like, I don't even know, like 8:00, 7:30.
That's a long day.
Yeah.
That's
and he's
for you.
So yeah. And so I almost made a just wait, but I didn't. I rephrased it.
Yeah.
Because it is true.
Yeah.
We still take Antonio places, of course, but is it easier? Yes. But yeah, I didn't want to do like the whole just wait until he starts walking. Like, no, you don't have to. They can clearly see we're struggling here.
Yeah.
But it happens sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
And sometimes it does. It's not from like a malicious,
right.
It's really like, girl, just but they'll see.
Yeah.
And if they have questions, then they'll ask you.
Give us some just waits that you've heard.
Yeah.
That we've missed.
Yeah. Did you have any?
Yeah. These are gonna make my blood boil. I'm sure the ones that if anybody comments on some say.
One of mine was like, and then another part was I was like, just wait until all they want to eat is macaroni and cheese, and and it's like we know, and we like. As much as we're going to try to expose them to different things, like we know that's something
inevitable.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's like, if not, just don't give them macaroni and cheese. Or, like sometimes they don't know if you're that dedicated to like your kid eating certain things, if they're not exposed to anything, they're not going to know what it is. But sometimes it's just easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, what about the disciplining
your children? We're not like all the way there yet. We were in San Antonio and we were staying at his aunt's house. It's like a museum. She has like a piece of glass everywhere. And I was just like, yeah, like our decor has slowly started moving up in the house.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh no, we just left everything out, and they just had to learn like no means no. And I was like, oh well. Well, like certain things is no means no, but I'm pick and choose my battles. That's what I'm doing. I'm not leaving a glass picture frame just so you could touch it. It falls over possession. And glass goes everywhere. Just safety reasons, like glass goes everywhere. When something breaks its glass, it's so hard to find all the pieces, and they're walking, put it in their mouth. So I'm like, no, we're just gonna put stuff away until certain things. Of course, he knows no means no, or we're trying. They mess with the plugs, or they're trying to pull something. He loves pulling the vacuum plug out. Things like that. But it's like, but I'm not leaving all my decor out here because this is his house too. Right. Like he wants to.
I can't be like constantly like following and like moving and like
no. That's so exhausting.
There's no way. Disciplining in that aspect for now.
That's when it starts. Also, for me, we're not like
and then I'd say like as they get older, whenever they start learning different traits, different like characteristics that are not. So Jordan Peterson is somebody who like John and I religiously will follow and are very in tune with what he says on parenting. Again, I don't know how he got famous. I'm leaving my brain right now, but he says this like famous quote on basically the first 5 years of a child's life is so important on how they are like they're the way that other people receive them and also like are likable is very important to how they grow up in their later years. And I'm totally screwed up that. But basically what it means is like if the child is not likable by adults, they start feeling that. And if they start getting isolated, and then they start developing these characteristics because they're isolated, and it grows into like them being into teenagers, adults, and all of these things. But the way he phrases it is so true. Like thinking back to our teaching days
Mm-hmm.
and thinking like, oh, how can I make sure that this kid is included in all of these things, a group work, like making sure that each person has their own voice, and working together, that type of scenario. But also too, like as an adult, do I make sure that I am self-aware of what I'm saying whenever I'm speaking to other people,
Mm-hmm.
in like this situation and that situation, whatever. But his mindset on how to raise kids, and as an adult, just going through life, is so 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 good. Disciplining, because he is a believer in making sure that you're instilling all of these traits as they grow up. Another one that I've heard really good things about, which I haven't read the book, but I've listened to a couple of her podcasts. Her name is Becky, and her last name is not, but the book is called Good Inside. And I think the podcast is also called Good Inside. I could be
Mm-hmm.
wrong. But she's basically the same thing. Like, is gentle parenting a form of discipline, and how far is too far on the gentle parenting type
Mm-hmm.
of thing? And really, you're raising these people to be good humans, but that starts with certain traits that you need to instill in them
Mm-hmm.
growing up. And how can they expand on that? Is, I feel like, how we kind of try to gear our parenting towards.
Mm-hmm.
John and I are very different on parenting, but I think that's also like we're learning as we go, like John, and the age that he's at, making sure, I don't know, like trying to think of a scenario where I was like, I think he was a little too hard on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, honestly, I don't know what I would have said in a scenario like that. Like maybe John has better words whenever he's talking to him about these things, but his outburst sometimes comes off really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, I can come off strong sometimes, yes, and like how I get on to him, but then the after is like, okay, well, like this, the thing that comes to mind is, when a dog pees on the floor, and like they say, like, well, make sure the dog smells it so they know
Mm-hmm.
what they did. But if it happened like hours later,
Yeah,
like
it's
you're not
not.
gonna, it's not
Yeah.
gonna do anything. So that's my mindset on it. Like it's like, as long as they know what it was, like, okay, this is the action that you took. Was it right or wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Let's talk about it, type of thing. John's is like really good at that, but first he's like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah."
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it
Yeah.
already happened. Why re-go? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So disciplining, I feel like, is a constant work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
The more they age, too. I don't
For
know.
sure. Yeah, and the outside opinion gets
Oh my god! Yeah, I didn't
gets
even get on that.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
like a whole thing, and a lot of the times this comes from your close family members,
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
parenting or
Oy.
like disciplining.
Yeah,
And everybody has their own ways of doing it, and like how we grew up, it could be a result of how either you want to raise your kids
mm-hmm,
or the complete opposite of how you
mm-hmm,
want to raise your
mm-hmm,
kids,
mm-hmm.
because you experienced something and you're like, I don't want to keep that going.
Right.
Or like, I wasn't really spanked. I was spanked probably like once that I
Yeah.
could remember.
Mm-hmm.
Or but so, and Adrian, I think, got a few little slaps here and there,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
for certain things. But I mean, we don't want to like just hit them. Like
Right.
that's the thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I saw one that was like, we only spank or hit when it's something like life threatening, or like if they're messing with the stove or
Mm-hmm.
something, like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they're consistently,
Yeah.
all right, that's like, no, you're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Or they're about to run to the street and you call their name and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
stop.
Mm-hmm.
You tell them what they did wrong, and then if you discipline them in that way because they're like, that's something that could hurt the injure
Yeah.
themselves, it's
Yeah.
like a more serious
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, but yeah, that's like everybody's individual.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and so I will say, like, anytime that we're at grandparents' house or like family's house, let's say get together, and the only one that I can think of right now is John, because it's happened more times Jaden, we're gonna get there for sure. But John, it's happened so many times where sometimes like he'll feed off of like the grandma energy and like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I can get away with whatever. And immediately John will like snap him back into it. And he used to like get onto him there, but I thought that was more of like an embarrassing
Mhm.
thing. So I was like, let's figure out something. Like, let's take
Take them
that scenario.
outside or take them. Yeah.
Yes. So now he's gotten to the point where he'll be like, John, come with me. And
Mhm.
he'll like take him to another room, go talk to him, whatever, maybe yell, but we're
Mhm.
trying not to be quiet so we don't hear. And then he'll come back a completely different
Yeah.
person. But I feel like extracting him from the environment
Mhm.
helps a lot for John.
Yeah.
Jaden, we'll see on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's like no, it's okay that they did that. No, it's
Yes.
okay. It was like,
Yes.
maybe it's okay for you, but it's not okay
Right.
for this to happen all the time,
Right.
So it's
Right.
like we still have to keep them in line and check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just
So disciplining, just let people, unless you see somebody beating the life out of their kid, don't intervene.
Yeah.
But everybody has their own way of disciplining.
I feel it's so hard to.
And if you want a gentle parent,
yeah. But it's so hard
you.
though. Like, just think about. Okay, I will say jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
I think I told you this, but I feel like it's a good place to start with like the whole parenting aspect of things. One, it's a confidence thing for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
but two, like you see how the instructors are with the kids. Like
Yeah.
they're stern to a point where like, hey, listen, I'm talking to you. We're gonna do this little trick thing or trick, this movement, and then go.
Yeah.
But the way they talk to them, I feel like is such a good place to start,
Mm-hmm.
where it's not like, come on, Jaden.
Yeah.
Jaden, don't hit. Jaden.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Come on. Stand out of, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a good entry point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then this is kind of going back to, but it can continue, but it starts like when your kids are babies and they continue as like we've did an episode about routines and schedules, but some have those regimented schedules and routines, and maybe some babies fall into it so fast, which we didn't even really get into like when they were babies about like an actual routine and schedule in that episode, like how we tried or implemented it. I think we briefly gave it, but like I think once I'm going to turn like 4 months, naps were like 20 to 25 minutes. And we would try to hit them. I think he would take, 3 a day. Sometimes I had to hold him while he napped. He didn't want to lay down. I tried all the things. I tried to swallow. I tried to put him down while he was awake. But he was just not having it, you know? And then if I would have had somebody come in and be like, well, have you read XYZ? Have you tried all these things? My baby was on a schedule. My baby was waking up at this time, blah, 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 blah. It would have made me, feel like I was failing. And then two, like drove me crazy, which I already felt like I was failing because I was watching all the TikToks and I had read a book and I was just like, well, he's not doing any of this. Is he not growing? But he was, and he was fine, but that's like something that people have an opinion on, and it continues as they get older with certain routines and schedules, nap time schedules that you work and that's, like making them the entire focus is like one thing, and then being shamed because you're not making their nap time your entire focus. Oh, he must be so tired or,
Yeah.
So
there's no right and wrong.
No.
It's literally, and it's hard. How about this? What would you say to someone in the scenario of I'm at my baby's 2 months. I don't have a routine. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
We're just going with the flow. What do you say then?
I would just be like, is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Like, do you, because I feel like I would ask, like, are you asking for help?
Yes,
for advice? Yes. Or are y'all good? Like,
there was a good quote that somebody said. Who said it? That said, if I tell you something, maybe they were talking to their partner. If I'm telling you something, I want you to ask me first if I want unsolicited advice or if I want you to give your opinion. Unless you want me to, or I'm just telling you just because I'm
just a vent.
Just a vent.
Yeah. And that's
and that's
are you venting or do you want maybe some advice, some help?
Yes.
And go from there. And I think that's how I try to gauge it. And now being a mom, like, and I know of others having kids, or sometimes I'll be like, well, I tried this and then left it at that.
Right.
Like very,
Yep.
because I know it could be touchy.
Absolutely.
And it's like, and then if you are directly asking, like, no, like,
Yes.
how did you or what did you try?
Yeah.
Because all you can do is try at the end of the day. Like, there's no, it's not no
Pushing.
perfect handbook, and
No.
there's
No.
nothing that,
Yeah.
that just because you tell somebody that you read all these books and that it worked for you doesn't mean, one, they're going to try it, two, it's going to work for them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think, I don't want this episode to come across as like us being judgy either, because I
Yeah.
hope it's not coming across that way. I think it's more of like, this is how we're seeing things. This is what we're being told as we're going through these stages, but also too, like, maybe there's a different way that we can all like kind of come about it in a more positive way, in a more helpful way, in a more like, oh, how do you want me to show up for you,
Yeah.
friend, that's going, and doing this for for you. Like, how can I show up for you as a friend? How can I be there for you as a sister, as a cousin, as a, a fellow mom to a fellow mom? But even if I'm not a mom, like, how can I show up for you as just a supportive person?
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you like scenarios? Because I can talk your ear off for different scenarios, but is that what you want from me, type of thing? So I hope that this came across in that way.
Yeah.
With all of them.
Yeah.
The scenarios of the just waits, of the...
Yeah. I mean, I think it was just a little bit of venting, a little bit of what we know that, like, y'all are probably experiencing or have experienced, and, send this to somebody that needs to hear it. Yeah. If somebody is giving you unsolicited advice, do
you send it to them directly? Or do you just post it to your story?
Post it on your story, just a little subliminal message. But yeah, no, I mean, because like at the end of the day, we all have our different styles and how we see fit, but like that's our opinion and that's it. But I think at the end of the day, like, you and your husband might go home and be like, oh, I can't believe blah, blah, blah. But you're not gonna, just don't tell the person, I think, is what this whole thing is about. Because it's natural to have an opinion on somebody else's way of living. It just happens, right? But just don't tell the people. They don't need to know. Yeah. I mean, let's keep it real. But, whatever it is that you're choosing to do, that's what's best for y'all.
Yeah.
And if somebody is telling you stuff, I don't know what to say back. But I don't know what the response is, but I don't know. Yeah. Well, so moms, just do better.
Do better. As far
as don't be mom shaming other moms.
Yeah.
The mom on mom crime.
We can all do our part in being a better supportive
support. Yes. Support.
Yeah, and like you said, the whole the reason why they're sharing could be just to vent. Let them vent.
Yeah.
God knows we needed to vent after birth and after
and just go back to that time when you were in the trenches, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want to hear it. Okay, Primas.
Yeah.
I think that's all for this episode. And until next time.
Yep. Thank you for
watching.
Yeah.
And being here.
And listening.
Okay. Bye.
Adios.
Oh my gosh, I'm so out of it. I feel like so tired.